decided to get Grammy nominee Cameron, who raps about pimping and bitches and among other things, and rap producer Damon Dash, co-founder of Rockefeller Records, together with Mr. Thomas L., who joins us now from Philly. And here they all are. Now we're going to have a nice, intelligent discussion here, gentlemen, and I'm going to moderate this discussion.
Pimping and bitches.
Yeah, you know.
Pimping and bitches.
You got it in your record Purple Haze right here. But anyway, let Mr. Thomas L. direct his questions, and then you guys can answer. You can ask him questions or whatever you want. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm a big fan of yours. I grew up on hip-hop.
Thank you.
I'm a little older, so, you know, I was a Run DMC fan, KRS-One.
Yes, sir.
But I'm always promoting the positive of rap. I mean, Jay-Z's an excellent example of someone who's has started his own label, who's an entrepreneur. So always promoting that with my young people. But I spoke to some students today in preparation for our conversation tonight, and they were just so excited about the fact that I will be conversating with you guys, but also began to talk about the impact of the rap business on our young people, and many of them talked about how they understand that it's to sell records and it's for promotion, but there are many young people who are affected by the lyrics, by the example, the videos. They talked about how Ludacris, many of them knew about a video that Ludacris has where there's strippers and lap dances and those kinds of things. And these 11, 12, 13-year-old students who are very aware of what goes on. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were on whether you thought you really had an impact on the lives of young people and whether you thought it was negative or positive.
Cameron, why don't you go ahead?
At the end of the day, yeah, you got an influence on it, but so do movies. Like with me, I'm just an author. So what I do is I write what goes on in the ghetto. I'm not a liar. So if what I tell you goes on in my album, that's what goes on in the streets of Harlem. Now I'm like a reporter. When you look at the news, you don't get mad at the person reporting the news. A lot of influence, I think, go to movies. A lot of people look at the movies and then they react. The kids that killed them kids, and where was that? They like Columbine. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? I don't think they were listening to rap at all. I think that was more like a Marilyn Manson jump off, like.
What if
You see, Cameron did that on purpose because he had to let the people in the know that he was down with the program. This is all staged. Like, this is all staged as far as this little setup here between Dame Dash, Cameron, and Bill O'Reilly, and the guy that's advocating for, a better sound in the music or what have you. This is all staged. This was all for Cameron to be promoted and put, on this type of platform so he can be highlighted, because he threw up them horns to let people know that this was all staged in regards to him being on TV, on television, and signaling that. I'm not saying the conversation is fake or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, they agreed to have these people on the show to talk about this, and the esoteric undertone is very important when you understand why people throw up the horns and signal that to the masses, because it's a part of people. It's a part of letting them know that, I'm initiated and I'm in the know. It's kind of the same thing you saw with the brother Conway the Machine. If you look at a performance from Conway the Machine, especially just looking at Griselda as a whole from the beginning, their beginning, Conway the Machine threw up the horns in a certain performance with Westside Gunn that was around the time where he was starting to get that shady deal done. So it's all about the timing. This was around the time where Cameron was about to really take off. So he goes on TV with Dame Dash and he lets the people know, like the people in the know that he's a part of the program, as well as letting the masses know, even though they don't really understand what it is, but it's all about that esoteric, that Luciferian vibration. So that's why Cameron threw up them horns, believe it or not.
What if an 11-year-old kid imitates you, Cameron? What if he uses 4-letter words and he develops a lifestyle based upon the street? He gets tattooed. He gets all this.
Okay,
yeah, well, let me just say, and then you can jump in. Do you feel badly about that?
No, I don't. Can I maybe interject? If a 11-year-old were to imitate Cameron, what they would be doing is becoming the CEO of their own company, controlling their own destiny, taking a bad situation and making it good. He has a record company. He sold a lot of records. He's acted in movies. I feel like he's a pilot. He has a cologne. I have a clothing line.
He's you know what I'm talking about, Dave.
Well, no, he's an entrepreneur by his own right.
If you have a child who is unsupervised, and then Mr. Thomas L. has to try to teach, right? And he's using four-letter words inappropriately. He's dressing inappropriately. He doesn't have value of education.
Well,
then that kid's in trouble.
Who's to say what's inappropriate as far as dressing goes? But on another level, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the Terminator, he was shooting up half of everyone in sight.
Cartoon, though. This is more real.
The Terminator is not a cartoon. Wait, hold on.
This is real, though.
I understand what Damon's saying, but at the same time, you do have to take into account the influence when it comes to the type of lyrics that are in the music. Now, we know that this this video hasn't really aged well because it's gotten worse when it comes to the influence on the young kids with this demonic music, this trance music. I mean, back around this time, the music wasn't as like demonic feel, you know, it was meant to put you in a certain state, but it wasn't demonic feel like it is now. Like now it's just, you hear all these type of enchantments in the songs. It's just crazy. But I understand what Damon and Cam is saying to a degree, but at the same time, it's all about holding yourself accountable, as well as, you know, teaching your kids the right way when it comes to edifying them on the type of music that they're listening to let them know, hey, listen, there's a difference between internalizing and just listening for enjoyment. You know, the thing with these people, as far as these young kids today, they internalize the music. And that's why, you know, you see what you see in regards to it manifesting itself when it comes to the thoughts, because, you know, thoughts, they begin in the mind, obviously, and then they actionize based off of the manifestation of someone's feeble mind.
Isn't it?
Well,
In
no.
my life, everybody's rap
This is real. It's not a Terminator cartoon. All right, Mr. Thomas L., what else do you want to ask these
You
guys?
didn't let me finish. That wasn't very fair.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, let Mr. Dash
Now, we're talking about the good governor of California.
That's right. And I'm telling you, his movie's a cartoon, whereas this rap stuff is real life.
But you said if
Who
there's
are you to determine that?
Hold on, Cam. If there's an unsupervised child, how is he to know whether it's real or not? How is he to determine what's real and what's not real? Who's to supervise him?
All right. So you think
Exactly. It's all about the home. See, that's the thing. Like, that's why I can't really put the onus too much on the music, because it's about you, the parent, teaching their kids what's right and what's wrong. The understanding of, hey, you listen to this music, but don't take it, you know, for edification. Don't take it for salt at the end of the day. It's just music. It's just entertainment. Don't take what these people say to you for edification. I don't care how conscious they are. I don't care how Kendrick Lamar, I don't care how eloquent he is. At the end of the day, the man is on the other side. He's just preaching a certain tone, but he's on the other side, if you know what I mean.
the Terminator movies are just as damaging or more so than gangster
I would just say being that there's a visual and being there's no explanation to them and being that
visuals on these rap videos too, though.
But what I'm saying is it's glorified. There's no justification for all the shooting that goes on. So if he's reporting what goes on around the street, he's a product of his environment. Not to say him, but he's reporting what is a product of his environment. How is that wrong for him to report that?
Gentlemen, let's be honest.
Thomas, I'll get in here.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Who do these kids relate to more? You, someone from the inner city, or someone from another country, or someone from the suburbs? Let's be quite honest.
Well, what I was trying to
you came up the same way I did,
right?
The same way millions of these kids do every day. We're growing up in a fatherless society. We're growing up with a lot of our friends, your friends, my friends, didn't have a lot of supervision at home. Most of the time, they were at our homes. We had good parents. We had parents who didn't allow us to do or watch these kinds of things.
Right.
But these children, now, in the movie industry, believe me, I'm a critic of the movie industry also. I think that these kids are watching too much TV, period. But my issue is that when you rap about what these children relate to because it's in their environment. You've already stated that they don't know your story because you're a CEO, and I agree. But see, you don't promote that, and your company doesn't promote that. They promote four-letter words.
We don't promote entrepreneurship. We don't promote positive and ownership of your company. I'm making it cool to be smart.
All right.
I'm making it cool. Wait, let me. I'm making it cool to be a businessman.
It's not about business.
It's about business for you because you feel like it might give you better ratings to portray something negative within the image of hip hop.
It is negative.
It's not negative.
You see, this whole time, Dame Dash has his hat turned and tilted. I could be reaching, but, you know, all you see is the man's left eye. That's all you see is his left eye this whole time in this whole interview. So maybe he played a certain part in this as well. Like, they all agreed that they was going to come together and talk about this certain topic. But when it comes to the understanding of what they're all a part of in unison, they know what they're a part of. They know that they're all Masons. You know what I mean? it's a reason why, like I said, Cameron threw up them horns and mentioned Marilyn Manson. You know, Marilyn Manson had a lot of influence in the hip hop industry when it comes to the esotericism and the Luciferianism.
This man, it's not negative.
It's negative to make money, Mr. Dash, if you hurt children.
How do you hurt children by promoting to be an entrepreneur and a CEO and to do right by?
Looking at a principle.
For example.
Yes, hold it. You're looking at a principle.
Why you don't want to let him talk? You mad. Where'd you start? Current affair, right?
No, wrong.
Well,
you're
looking I got that on you, doggy.
Cameron,
I'm going to get at you in a minute.
You go ahead. You get at
I'm going to get at you in a minute.
Listen, you're looking at a guy who teaches inner city kids and who's telling you face to face that he has problems with kids based upon a rap music, and you're rationalizing it all up and down.
I thought you were going to mediate.
I am.
No, what you're doing, you're giving opinions. You're not an objective mediator now, Bill.
It's my program.
Bill, now it's your program.
Bill. Yes,
Bill.
Dash factor some other time.
I have the dash factor.
Gentlemen, I got
a question for Cameron based on.
He said, Bill, come on, Bill. Come on, Bill. You're not being objective, Bill.
Come on, let's keep it civil.
This is civil.
I've got.
Wait a minute, Mr. Reilly. Now, look, if the principal tells you that there are children in his school, Cameron, who are being adversely affected by your music, do you care?
I care, but you got to talk to their parents.
Well, what if they don't have good parents?
While they're in school, they have to have parents to be in school.
Well,
Somebody send them to school.
No, they don't have good.
Well, listen, if that's the case, homeboy, whoever's in my ear on the television, you need to have parent-teacher conferences with your students. Whether it's their aunt, their cousin, their sister, somebody send these kids to school. They're not 11 years old staying home by themselves. I can't go home and talk to these your students and you need to have more parent-teacher conferences if you have a problem with your students.
You see how they're emphasizing the home, the home. It's all about the home, man. I can understand what Cameron is saying to a degree, even though he's explaining it in a sort of a clunky way. He basically saying, listen, man, it's all about what starts in the home. If your child is being indoctrinated with something that's based in, a meritocracy or substance from their father or their mother, and then they go to school and they separate what they learn from school from what they learn from home, then that's a beautiful thing. But if you got a child that, you're teaching and you're doing the best of your ability to teach, but they still take on the indoctrination aspect when they go to school, and also they internalize the music that they listening to when it comes to the hip hop music on, the bad hip hop music, as far as the killing and the drugs and all that stuff. Not saying bad, but you know what I mean, as far as how people would deem it. Then, of course it's going to be unfortunate, and you would have to blame, the foundation, which is the household.
Television.
Let him reply. Go ahead.
Now you let him reply.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, I'll reply.
That was a good point, Cam.
Thank you.
Right. Actually, no, it's excellent point. Actually, you are talking to these students because they listen to you every day. See, you are.
So I got more influence than their parents. That's a problem.
No.
That's a
right.
problem. That is a problem. So you need to have parents-teacher conference because these are your students. You feel me? I can't come. If you want me to come to your school and talk to your students, I can do that.
No,
for you.
I don't. No,
All right,
I don't.
Listen.
Are you going to come using four-letter words?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you going to come?
Let him get in.
Talk to your parents.
You're cutting me off, sir.
You're mad.
Go ahead, Mr. Thomas. Go ahead.
No. What I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is that you're making millions of dollars off of these kids. The same kids that you're now denigrating, the same parents that you're now denigrating, you make millions of dollars off these people.
How much money I make?
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I think it's pretty unfair for you to judge the circumstance without properly understanding it, but every opportunity we get, we try to say as positive things as we can, which is why when we do make these monies, we give back to a community. Me and Cam ourselves from 142nd Street in Lenox, we do have a program there that teaches the kids to be positive. We make them go to school. We support a basketball program, and every chance we get, we personally know 150 kids in the neighborhood and speak to them and tell them to stay in school and incentivize them to stay in school.
Now, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to hold these guys.
About that?
Okay.
Marilyn Manson, huge staple in the entertainment industry in regards to demonism, Luciferianism, you know what I mean? Satanism. Just an outright demon right here, Marilyn Manson is. But he played a huge part in the early stages of DMX's career, as well as other rappers' careers, when it comes to them being enlightened and engrafted into, this craft or the craft. So you see here Cameron from his album Confessions of Fire. Now, obviously, the fire element going into enlightenment, as well as that understanding of mysticism. But let me just zoom in here so you guys can see him throwing up the Manu Carnuto horns, the devil horns. So this is him letting you know that he was initiated into the craft and he was going to be put in a certain frame in regards to, his career path, because he is someone that is, he has that owner statesman about him when it comes to him being the head of, Dipset and so on and so forth. So he's a high level Mason. Cameron is high level Saturnian. And you see the right eye, you don't really see the right eye. You see the left eye being highlighted, while the right eye is kind of like darkened or shaded out, so you can get the understanding of, what his worship system is. And obviously, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I believe that's supposed to be a 6, or it could be a 9, like where the fire is coming from, the bolts. But you see the 9 on top of which you see the fire coming out of. So I just wanted to read up on this article in regards to the influence of Marilyn Manson on hip hop. So it says, Goth in the Front, how Marilyn Manson became a hip hop icon, Kerrang. When Marilyn Manson showed up at Travis Scott's Astroworld this weekend, a hip hop festival where Manson was the only real rock act, plenty of fans were surprised, delighted, and even a little weirded out. Even louder in their amazement and confusion, however, were the press, who played up Manson's appearance and the bewilderment of some rap fans as a massive deal. Hip hop is gangsta dance music. Manson's a Bible-burning goth. Who would have thought the two could work so well together, right? Yes, because they push the same vibration in regards to that, that demonic dynamic when it comes to, pushing that wavelength of, going against the Heavenly Father. It's just that people don't understand it because, they internalize these things subconsciously. Fans of both metal and hip hop, however, know better. Manson has long positioned himself as a friend of hip hop culture and has fostered a cult of personality that rap fans respect. And now that he's become a senior representative of rock music at both its most theatrical and its most honest, his cultural awareness is paying off. Even before Manson collaborated with hip hop artists, the central theme of his persona aligned with something rap has always prompted: scaring the shit out of polite society. Early hip hop artists like NWA and Public Enemy were all about thrusting the truth of being black in America into the faces of privileged white people who would never understand their experiences. Gangster rappers like Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac, meanwhile, laughed at the stodgy standards of rich white folks, showing that they could make as much money as any judge or stockbroker on the streets on the rap game. Manson's target may have been evangelical Christians first and foremost, but his message was consistently the same. Fuck your precious sheltered life, fuck your hypocritical lies, and fuck you. The first notable instance of Manson collaborated with a rapper was on The Omen, yes, a track from DMX's 1998 album Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. The song has the god of fuck reciting the chorus in a steady occultish rasp that feels like it could summon an evil spirit. DMX had always been aligned with Manson's love of blood and blasphemy. Yes, because he was programmed to, just like he was programmed to get in that tub full of goat blood. Like, if you somebody that have a real heart, if you somebody that, that has a spine, there's no way you're going to go into no damn tub full of blood. I die before I go into a goddamn tub full of real goat blood. I don't care how compromised I am when it comes to where I'm at in that industry. I'm not going to get in no fucking tub full of goat blood, especially if that's the first part of me compromising myself. But let me read up where it says, Flesh of My also includes lyrics about fucking corpses And its follow-up album is titled It's Dark and Hell is Hot. That he got the scary, satanic, heavy metal star of the time to guest on his track showed that he saw something in Manson, a voice as genuine and scary to the worst people as his own. And you can see right here, this whole dynamic with the demonic vibration. Marilyn Manson basically being that handler figure for DMX. You know what I mean? He probably was a handler for DMX in the early stages of his career. And you put him on a Damien song, and Marilyn Manson is basically Damien 2.0. Perhaps even more powerful was Manson's appearance in Eminem's The Way I Am video. By the time the track blew up, Marilyn was elevated from scary rock star to root of all evil, having been scapegoated by parents and moral authorities for the Columbine High School massacre in 1999. Yes, you know, that was for the dove goddess, because you have the understanding of Columbine, Columbo, the dove goddess, in which certain sacrifices take place, you know, in veneration of the mother goddess. This is why you have certain instances that took place during this month when it comes to what took place in Columbus. But it says Eminem similarly was suddenly the poster boy for every troubled white kid who chose rap over metal. The lyrics of The Way I Am mention Manson specifically and call out parents for looking everywhere except at themselves to figure out what went wrong with their children. The appearance of the shock rocker in the video, shirtless and stark, looming behind Eminem like America's deformed child locked in the attic, illustrated the brutal truth behind all the pyro and feather boas he was known for. Manson's most visible statement of his appreciation for hip-hop was probably the video for his cover of Tainted Love from the soundtrack Not Another Teen Movie. Here, Marilyn looks the part of an exaggerated degree, complete with a lowrider, a grill, and a breakdancing spooky kid in a shirt that says, "Ain't nothing but a goth thing." What saves the video for smacking of cultural appropriation is that Manson doesn't do anything to act like a rapper. He's still the same slithering, quote-unquote sexy horror show we all know, just in flashier clothes than usual. At the same time, the point of the video is that Marilyn's goths cadre, is showing up, freaking out a bunch of suburban teens who think they're cool and watching an insane dance show. Exactly what most rappers spend their nights doing. It's also not as though Manson had never worn bling before the Tainted Love video. It is also not as though Manson had never worn bling before the Tainted Love video. As I said, brothers, my phone is cracked, so it's kind of like tough reading it. But like I said, I'm still going to go through it. I'm still going to try to get these videos done because it's very important. Starting with his Mechanical Animals era in the late 90s, the singer truly embraced his role as rock royalty, albeit in a dark and esoteric kind of way. But there's an understanding in his elaborate goth preening, similar to that of most rappers, that the peacocking is fun, but at times meaningless, a symbol of surviving life's horrific shit show as an individual rather than getting a seat at the table. And never has that idea been more relevant in hip-hop than right now, as mental illness, drug addiction, and the realities of race in America have reemerged in new hyper-aggressive ways, because of social media, because of the power of social media. For all of his work with rappers and appreciation of their style, that's what first endeared Manson to hip-hop fans. His music. Marilyn Manson's songs don't have the harsh, all-angles blaze of extreme metal or the lacy, melancholy death rock of goth. Instead, they thrive with primal rage and march to a thick, pneumatic beat. One can march to Manson's music, but one can dance, have sex, and get fucked up to it just as easily, with its lyrical themes of disillusionment, nihilism, and fury at the powers that be keeping him down. And fury at the powers that be keeping him down. Most notably God, of course. Of course. They hate God. In the industry, they hate God. They hate the Most High. And, that goes for just a regular person who's into this type of stuff. They hate the Most High. The singer offered a level of grimy sincerity that plenty of other artists never quite understood. But that young listeners immediately appreciated as universal truth. The new combination of rock and rap that's unfolding before our eyes in 2019 has a notable unifying principle. So this was written in 2019, I guess. Pain. On the surface, hip hop is all diamonds, rings, and rock is all flame tattoos. But younger audiences who have experienced the bullshit nature of those concepts are now turning into the stars of today. And yes, man, it's all one and the same in regards to the element that's being pushed when it comes to esoteric component. Of course, it's not the same sound. Aesthetically, it's not the same thing. But when it comes to the demonic component, the vibration, it's the same shit. And that's what I wanted to bring out in this article. I ain't want to read up too much because some of it is just filler. But for the most part, I just wanted to read this in context with the understanding of the influence of Marilyn Manson, him being that satanic figure and also being that pillar for enlightenment to these artists, especially these new artists. Like when DMX first came out, Eminem, so on and so forth, Cameron.